My name is Luigi.
And I'm Jax.
And we are joined with Devin, going by LAZ, who is an up-and-coming artist, and we had the privilege of spending some time with this amazing man and just talking about his music and his message and just his story. What a great story. Welcome, Devin.
Thank you. Glad to be here. Pleasure to be here with y'all.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's awesome for us to have you on the show. I love that you're very outspoken about your beliefs and your orthodoxy, right?
Yes.
Can you just get into that for our listeners a little?
Elaborate a little bit.
Elaborate.
Yes, I got you. The Orthodox Church has been here for 2,000 years. It is very Eastern. If you want to join, you can come because the early church is still here. I was on a long journey trying to find the truth and trying to find home, and I found home and truth. I would say the truth that is Jesus Christ, because he is the way, the truth, and the life.
Yes.
And found home in the Orthodox Church after a very long journey, very long adventure, some wild adventures. And it's beautiful, and beauty will save the world.
I like that. So Devin, tell us about yourself, my friend. What's the music and who are you? Our listeners have no idea.
Well, my artist name is LAZ. I'm a poet, spoken word artist, and Christian rapper. My poetry and music is for lost souls and outcasts who love lyricism and Christian hip-hop. I make poetry and Christian hip-hop for people to not feel alone, to find belonging and a way home through my music and poetry.
Yeah.
I do this because I have a love for hip-hop, and I integrated and blended my love for hip-hop with my belief system and belief practices of actually trying to practice what I preach, failing, making attempts at it, like we all do as as sinners saved by grace. So I do this as an artist because I love it. It's a passion. I have fun doing it.
Yeah.
It's a craft I enjoy. It's a labor of love, a little more than a hobby. I've been able to meet other artists in person and online, and got to meet some great men and women that do extraordinary things. And I like to share my poems or music when given the opportunity, anywhere, anytime. Because rap is known for having ciphers, for like freestyling and for just meeting up with people and like at the drop of a hat, just rapping something, freestyling or something memorized.
I'd love if you'd share, you had a poem for us. And
Okay.
while you're talking about sharing it at the drop of a hat, I'd love if you would share that.
Okay.
Well, there goes the hat.
Yes,
apparently.
yes.
So this poem is unreleased, and it's not on anywhere. You can't find it online. And this poem is called Quest. The genius of voices in a quest, the ones to hear, the ones to obey, the ones to never listen to again. I wrestle down muses to the ground, the ones that never do stay so close, silencing sirens not by listening at all, the ones that sing your psyche away. I've been secured to the ship's mast before, too many times again and again, as this ship is passing through. Set fire to floating on waters, burned to ash beneath tides, like light berries atop ripples and waves, asking, what do you want? What can I do for you? Saying, what do you hope to gain? What would be a win for you? Seems like, are they the one? I wish to be and give my all, is the only game among life I play.
It's brilliant.
Yeah, bro.
I
Come on.
love that.
Thank you.
I love that. I've
Glory
been
to
tied to the ship's mast before, right? And that's a beautiful picture. If I don't know, a lot of people would understand that because we don't live on ships anymore. But
Right.
if there's rough waters and things are crazy,
Right.
the safest place is to tie yourself to the mast,
Right.
right?
Yes.
Woo! So tell us a bit about that, friend. That's awesome.
Yeah, we'll get into that. I've lived through some crazy seasons and circumstances and scenarios, and I would say Jesus is the rock of ages. To quote, you like metal, that was a song.
Yeah.
He's the firm foundation we can stand on. He's, living according to wisdom, as in the Sermon on the Mount. We can live a exemplary life in his example. The stuff I have been through, I am a big advocate and proponent for mental health. I can talk about that till the cows come home. I was diagnosed with a diagnosis in my early 20s and went through wards for quite a time. It was actually 10 times over 10 years. So I spent I calculated the time, and it was a third of a year. And not to put any digs on the mental health field, I have my own personal opinions about things. But it was what I needed at the time for my safety, for what I was dealing with, what I was going through. Had my family structure dissolve at one point, and was just in and out of the hospital and couldn't make sense of up, down, left, right. And went through it with thoughts. And I'd say, I'm a pretty big proponent of, Jesus and therapy. Whatever that therapy framework, because there's different ones, would be like having somebody you can talk to in a safe space that will listen to you, give you time, and offer suggestions to you to live a better life. That helped me at the time. And what else would you like to know?
No, I'm definitely on the same page there, because I've walked my own journey through mental health, and I've had both New Age therapists, but I've also come to find out that the therapists who are anchored in the Lord and know the Word, who can pray with you and encourage you, and that produced so much fruit in me. That was so different from the New Age therapeutic practices that the world offers us today.
Of course.
And it's powerful, because you shared when we were off camera how you used to be agnostic, atheist, you dealt with mental health, but God.
But God, yeah.
But God.
There's a quote from a monastic that says, in the Orthodox tradition, that says, "I would have gone mad unless I had known that God gets the last word." Yeah. There's also
that is so powerful. I like that.
There's also a quote.
Because that's so real.
Yeah, it is real. There's also a quote from a monastic, I believe it was Saint Anthony, that said, "There's coming a day that the world will call you mad when you're." Hold on, let's see. There's coming a day when people will think you're mad when you're not like them, and they will call you mad. Yeah. And so I think, we are peculiar people as believers, as God-fearers.
Yes, a royal priesthood set apart for his plan and pleasure and purposes, right?
Mm-hmm. Right, yes. And we have to be peculiar. We have to be a little odd, going against the grain, so to speak, of the world, the spirit of the age, and living for Christ, living as an example.
I like that. So with that, I'd like to circle back to the mental health things, but you've got a cool song. It's called "Can I Pay You to Tell Me I'm Not Alone?" Right. Now, being alone is that's a real epidemic. Yes. And that's something we actually had to start dealing with, especially with COVID and all the stuff that we went through with all that, right? Anything you want to say about the song before we play it?
I would say it's a candid take on my experience of mental health and loneliness, and I do, in the past, some of my poems have been a bit provocative, so I would say brace yourselves, but it's just my experience, for the good, the bad, and the ugly, for better or worse,
Well, that's good. So thank you. Here we go. We got LAZ with "Can I Pay You to Tell Me I'm Not Alone?"
How could I ever understand your pain? I'm not afraid of friendship, but of hidden rage. I had to let go of all of my anger. All the enemies I hated was not a debate with God. Anger did no good for all the innocent ones for community's sake. Now I trust that I am forgiven and forgive others. Life is a whole lot to say, I am okay. Go to the doctors with those begging the question, do you want to harm others? Any thoughts of killing yourself? What do the voices say? Do the voices make you feel unsafe? The system is broken, it's modern, not ancient anymore. I fell through the cracks, 10 hospital stays. A Beautiful Mind is a film about someone like me. So is The Professor and the Madman. 100,000 reasons of love in one person. And if love, then love. What we need is healers who help us socialize back into our communities. American individualism is our mental health crisis. Most times mental illness is a grievous loneliness. I have needed more help from the saints. What can the love of God be in churches when our programs deal so little with others' needs and so much with idealistic elitist belief? What about Maslow's hierarchy? Food, water, and shelter to belonging. St. Paul would be pissed, still shouting devils instead of sons and daughters. That's insult and dishonoring an image of God, not devils and demons, beloved. How we communicate, the breakdowns and cognitive dissidence when we do not listen with empathy to understand but to give a verdict and condemn. The church is a hospital. Keep the lawyers away from the harmed and hurting. What can you and I do to help and heal? What can you and I do to be there? Our bodies put on display. Crazy is a multi-billion-dollar industry. Insanity is never trying a new way. You and I want to know we will be okay. So do I understand? Political and religious elitism, nothing to trifle with? Of course. Where were you when they crucified my Lord? And from what I have seen is terrible and magnificent, God is in charge. Never forget, for I am reminded of, fear not, and I love you with an everlasting love.
And we're back. That was LAZ with
Can I pay you to tell me I'm not alone?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And that was the candid take on your mental health journey. You said you spent 10 years in and out of wards. Your family structure crumbled. The Lord has taken you from being agnostic and atheist. What was it like transitioning from that to where you're at now?
Succinctly, a painful process,
Yes.
mentally and emotionally, relationally. That process was hell, and a lot of people go through hell and they don't have anybody to talk to or anybody that will listen. Like, listening is an active skill, listening to understand. And what was it like? I wandered around a couple different cities and different families, and just whoever would show mercy at the time. I think mercy is there's a huge lack of mercy in the world. Jesus Christ said, "Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy." And so what we give of mercy is what we get back, so to speak. And I really found out who were, quote unquote, some like really authentic believers that would show me hospitality and mercy and be patient with me and take time for my thought process to be able to work through. So it looked painful, but on the other side of that there was flourishing.
Yeah.
And
there's that suffering like Christ before he's taken up on the cross. We've just been going through the pain and the suffering is before that breakthrough point, the death and the resurrection.
Yeah, being one with him. And our bishop's been teaching us about getting to that breakthrough place. And a lot of people don't realize, like Christ, that brought us the ultimate breakthrough. To get there, you need to go through pain and suffering.
Yes.
right.
And that pain and suffering will last as long as you fight it.
Right.
Jesus yielded himself to it, and that's
Right.
why it produced so much, right? And just to explain what she was saying, and then it's the pain and suffering that leads us to the death and the end of ourselves. So we are one with him in death and in his burial, but also in his resurrection.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's where the breakthrough is. And that's kind of your story, isn't it? Tune in every week during the same time to Release Your Sound radio show.
Find us on Apple Music and WDRB Media,
The voice of the community.